I associate warm weather bass fishing and as in, post spawn, summer, and leading into the beginning of the fall before it starts to get cold. And, everybody knows how easy it is to catch them in the spring when the water just starts to warm up. But what happens after the water's warm? What do the fish do? And a lot of people have a big misconception thinking that every fish in the lake goes to a ledge or out to deep water or the middle of the lake. When the water is at its warmest, the fish are most active, and I throw a lot of topwater baits. I'm using on pretty much most of my topwaters somewhere between a 7-foot and a 7-foot 7-inch medium action composite Daiwa rod. Basically, a composite rod is a rod that is a mixture of fiberglass and graphite. What it does is it has the features of fiberglass, which is a slower taper and a moderate action, which allows the fish to get the bait a lot better before you actually feel them. But at the same time, it has the graphite of the lightness of a graphite and not as much sensitivity as a graphite, but some of the sensitivity to it. You're looking for shade, and shade comes in many different forms. It might come from a dock, like so. You see the shade up underneath there. And once again, those fish are positioning themselves, being cooler. Those fish are just like you. When it starts getting hot and too hot, which probably happens around July, August, around here, maybe September, July, you want to go sit in the shade. You want to fish in the shade. So those bass want to be in that same place. Overhanging trees are an excellent place to find shade. Seawalls, bridge pilings, and paying attention to how that shade is moving throughout the course of the day is where it's going to help you find those fish in the summertime, especially when you're fishing shallow. And even on some of the deep stuff you want to fish, bridge pilings play a big, huge key to shade at that time. I've used buildings as shade before at certain times of year. Once again, I'm that guy that I love being up shallow, seeing the bluegill swim around, seeing the crawdads up there, and seeing all the bass that swim around in those areas. And that's what you get a lot in the summertime. I mean, when you get up there shallow, there's so much bait up there. And so for, once again, bass aren't gonna leave the bait. They're not gonna leave their food source to go look for another food source like you when you're fishing a tournament. Don't leave fish to go find fish, because then you end up with no fish. It's kind of like a motto, and if you ever ask Mike about it, you ever see him again, or send a question into Bass University, just say, what is Ish's theme? And Mike's gonna say, don't give up your fish show for Mo, because then you end up with no. That's kind of how we roll with that. So it's your for sure fish. Don't go looking for more fish, because most likely you're gonna end up with no fish. The question is you got hyacinth, like the hyacinth mats that you kind of saw up there, they start breaking off and they start moving out. I stay away from any moving matted vegetation. I actually, in Florida this year, we actually had 30-mile-an-hour winds on day 2 of the tournament, and I literally watched my mats drift and move into corners. I leave those completely alone. The one thing, like a lot of those guys that you see why Florida guys are so consistent in Florida, is they get to live down there before the off limits. And so they'll pull up 30 days before and they're scouting around, and all of a sudden there's a mat in that corner, or a mat in that corner, and there's a mat in that corner. And so then the actual tournament days, they show up for official practice, and that mat has moved, and it's moved out here to the middle. But that mat in that corner is still there, that mat in that corner is still there, the mat over there is still there. Those are the ones that they're gonna concentrate on. And then when it comes especially to hyacinth, it's really, really easy to tell the hyacinth that's been there, because hyacinth doesn't grow as fast when it's moving around. But if it's trapped in a corner, or if it's trapped in between some other types of vegetation and it starts growing real tall, that's when you know that hyacinth's been there for a while, which means that it's gonna be bigger bulbs and probably more fish. So I try to stay away from the moving hyacinth and focus on the hyacinth and the vegetation that's actually been somewhere for a long period of time. The longer it's been there, the likely it's going to have a big fish in it. It's because I'm a big bait guy, I'm a big rod guy. So, but when it gets down to it and things get super tough, this is the direction that you have to go.
I hope you enjoyed the preview clip, and for more like that and the entire collection, subscribe to the Bass University TV. And if you want the tackle that you see on there, I want you to go to the Bass University Tackle Shop, powered by Tackle Warehouse, and click right here, and it's all at your fingertips.
Welcome to Bass University TV, an online video training course where you'll learn champion bass fishing techniques from pro anglers Pete Gluzek, Mike Iaconelli, and their talented special guests. From on the water to in the classroom, you'll learn sound techniques and strong fundamental bass fishing skills. Watch hours of video content on multiple topics at your own pace for a low monthly fee. Cancel at any time. Information is power in the sport of fishing, so learn from the very best. Subscribe to Bass University TV today.